Friends, I'm sure you have heard about SaltStack. So SaltStack is similar tool. It got a couple of difference if I compare with Salt SSH. It use 0MQ for communication purpose, and SaltStack need client-side agent to be running on target machine, or you can say client machine. But with the Agentless Salt or Salt SSH, this is a tool which is designed to manage the servers in agentless fashion. What it means, on a single machine, you can configure that machine as Salt SSH master, or you can say control server. On client side, no need to install any client side software. And all the communication happens over SSH, and Python is the only base requirement, which is part of all Linux distribution by default. I've listed a couple of features of Salt SSH. First one, it's agentless architecture. As I just mentioned, you don't need Salt client agent to be running. Simple mode of communication to connect with client, because Salt use SSH for communication purpose. Salt SSH can execute remote command on multiple clients in parallel. And Salt SSH configuration is very quick and easy. In a couple of minutes, you can get your Salt SSH control server ready. Salt SSH support almost all stack functionalities. So whatever functionality you have worked with SaltStack, almost all functionality are available with Salt SSH. Next thing, friends, installation. For installation on Red Hat, CentOS or Fedora, you have to install EPEL repository. For that, simply yum install EPEL-release. To install Salt, yum install salt-ssh and salt-master and say -5 for yes. On Ubuntu, you can use apt-get install salt ssh and salt master. Friends, you may be thinking why I have listed salt master package. Though this is not mandatory, but I personally install salt master package because it delivers most of the man pages, configuration files, and if you have to run a couple of commands locally, then it provides that functionality. So that's my recommendation, install it. That's not a heavy package. And irrespective of your Linux type, if you got pip on your system, you can simply install Salt SSH using pip install salt-ssh. Once you finish installation, friends, just remember that you have to enable systemctl, enable Salt master service, and you have to start it. So this is how installation can be performed. And let's discuss basic SaltStack terminologies before starting the technical session. Friends, if you see on my screen, I have listed a couple of building blocks, but I have listed only few. There are multiple which I am not discussing because I thought only these are the basic terminology which we need to understand. But if you want more details, you can visit Salt website and you can grab all the details. So first thing, what is Salt minion? Friends, Salt minion is term used for the target client. So any target machine, that is called minion. Salt roster. Salt roster is a host inventory file which is used to identify which system need to be targeted for execution of Salt commands. If you have worked on Ansible, like Salt minion is your host, target host, Salt roster is your inventory file. Like in Ansible, we got etc/ansible/host file. So Salt roster is similar. And this is a basic file that is in YAML format. If you see, this is a server, which is a name given. You can put any sensible name. You can say this is my Apache, Apache 1, Apache 2, Apache 3, whatever. This is the host IP. You can put IP or DNS entry. And this is the user which is used for communication, SSH communication. So you can say root, or if you got any other custom user, you can specify that username. If you want to specify password, which is not recommended, but again, if you want to communicate using password, you can type password here, and you can specify which port to use for SSH, because it provides good functionality. And I got another server where I'm using user salt ADM for communication purpose. I'm saying sudo true. So this user can run commands on target machine as a privileged user, or you can say as root user if I have configured root level sudo. Friends, if you want your custom roster file, let's say you don't want to stick with default, which is etc/salt/roster, you can specify your own file by giving keyword -- roster file and path to your file. Next terminology, which is thin_dir. When Salt perform any action on remote machine, it need to store that information about that particular action somewhere. So it used that directory, and that directory is called thin_dir. By default, it is in /temp salt, and the hash mean that particular job ID. Next thing, state. States are basically representation of a state in which system should be in. Let's say if you got one web server where you want Apache to be running. So Apache running, that is the desired state. So in state, that is similar to Ansible playbook. So you can say, okay, this is my server. This is going to be web server. These packages need to be installed. These services need to be started. So you tell like, this is my desired state. When you run that particular state, that brings your server in your desired state. State is similar to Ansible playbook, as I just mentioned. So only like formatting is different. So that was our theoretical session, friends. Let's begin practical session. Okay, I'm on machine which is CentOS 7 machine. Okay, so let's install Salt first. As I mentioned, first we need to install EPL repository. I can go with pipway, but I am just using YARN. So that's up to you, your preference. Saying -5. Okay, our EPEL release got installed. So let's install Salt now. Salt SSH and Salt Master. As I mentioned, that's your preference to install Salt Master 2. Saying yes here. Okay, if you see, both packages are part of EPL repo, so they are getting installed. Okay, that was quick. So both packages are installed now. So let me show you default roster file, or another term you can say default inventory file. That's etc salt and rosters. Okay, this is the file. Let me vim this file and add our entries. Okay, so these are the default formatting, how you can add this file. I have already discussed this in the theoretical session. Let me get rid of these dummy values and put some actual data. Okay, friends, so what I got one server which I'm naming, that's alias basically. That is not actual name, that's alias. I'm saying this is app server 1, it got this IP. This user need to be used for communication. This is going to be password. This is to be port. And for the server, I defined in different way to give demo. I'm saying this is the IP, this is the user. And by default, if you don't specify password, the Salt SSH tool assume the keys need to be used, means that SSH keys. The third scenario, I got user, again root. For demonstration only, I specified sudo true. Even root don't need sudo. I'm just saying true. And TTY, because if terminal is needed on target side, so I'm saying yes. So attach terminal for whatever command it's running. So intentionally, I have just made one error in this file to give you demo. Let me show you demo. So okay, friends, so this was roster file. Let me tell you what is error I made. This file is very sensitive on data. If you see, I added this particular tab, so it will give error. So whenever you update your roster file, make sure you don't have tabs in that file. That was only demonstration. So here with cat minus what I go to, okay, this is the, now I have removed that tab. Let me save it now. Okay, if you see, I have removed tab. So always do syntax checking or file for any invalid or data which is not required, like the tab in this case. So always do validation of your files. So that's like basic things about this particular session. And now we have to start our Salt master service. Salt SSH service not need to be started, only Salt master need to be started. So I'm enabling the service. So after every reboot, the service should come automatically. Now I'm starting service. Let's validate the status. Okay, so service is running. Friends, sometimes if you have to check what is the Salt SSH version on the system, if you're working with vendor or you're working with someone asks, okay, what is the version of Salt SSH, then you can simply run Salt SSH -versions -report. So it will tell you big